Hey everyone, how's it going? Ulysses here, back with another video. So you've been playing Magic the Gathering for a while now. You've been going to your local game store week after week and taking down F&M. So you ask yourself, is there something more competitive, something more challenging than this? Then one Friday, you go to F&M and you see some of your fellow players huddled around a cell phone. You ask one of them, what's going on? And they tell you, oh, we're watching the Invitational. You don't understand, and then you ask, what is that? And they say, oh, it's one of the most competitive formats of Magic that you can play. It's a competitive tournament, not like F&M. You go, so you want to know more. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips that I used when I went to my first Comp REL. Comp REL stands for Competitive Rules Enforcement Level. Some examples of Comp REL tournaments are SCG Opens, Grand Prix at Magic Fest, and Mythic Championships. Here's a small list of some things you're going to want to have when you go to your first big event. A water bottle. I got one at Walmart for about $5. Some granola bars, trail mix, or snacks of that sort. Most competitive events are long, so you're going to want to make sure you stay hydrated and you have something to eat while you're there. Most big events are held at convention centers, and they are equipped with water fountains. Now I know what you're asking. Why do I need a water bottle if I just have water fountains at my disposal? Think about this. Your round's about to start, and you're really thirsty. You're probably not going to have enough time to go to the water fountain and come back and find your seat before the round starts. Having a water bottle on you means you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about getting up and going to get something to drink and worried about being late for your round. Which brings me to tip number 2, knowing what a 0-10 policy is. A 0-10 policy means you need to be at your seat at the beginning of the round. If you're not, you'll get a game loss. And if you're still not in your seat after the first 10 minutes, you'll get a match loss and drop from the tournament. Now I know about this because at my first invitational qualifier, I was late to my seat and I got a game loss. And unfortunately, I drew a bad hand of cards and ended up losing the round. But I only lost one game because I got a game loss for not being there on time. Don't let that happen to you. Tip number 3, make sure you know where your belongings are at all times. At bigger events, there are hundreds of people there. You have players, vendors, and spectators alike. Not to say all people are bad, but there are some people that prey on the amount of people that are at these events. People that aren't always paying attention. Don't be one of those people. What I like to do is I take my bag and put it between my legs when I'm playing around, and I put my leg through the strap of my backpack. So if one of these individuals comes by and tries to lift my backpack, I'll know about it. I had a friend who went to a GP, and unfortunately, he didn't practice this tip. And while he was playing around, he was having a lot of fun, and was very excited. His opponent and him had really good interactions, and they were having a good time. And unfortunately, someone took advantage of that and took his backpack. In his backpack, he had a very expensive collection of cards, and he lost it in an instant. No one knew who took the bag, and the rest of the weekend was really bad for him because he lost all of his cards. My next tip involves the deck you bring to the event. Make sure that your deck is sleeved in newer sleeves. If they're not brand new, make sure that they're new enough. Make sure they don't have any marks or scuffs on them. If your sleeves have any marks on them, you could get flagged for having marked cards. You don't want that to happen, because that can result in also getting a game loss. Next tip. Make sure the deck box containing the deck you register, make sure it only has cards in that deck. So I recommend having a spare deck box, a deck box that has nothing to do with the tournament. So if you trade for a card or you buy a card, you can always put them in the spare deck box. Another thing, make sure that if you have tokens in your deck, you have them sleeved in different color sleeves, in case you accidentally shuffle them into your deck. Because if you present your deck to your opponent and your tokens are in there, you can get flagged for having extra cards. But if they're in different color sleeves, you can easily spot them and avoid this problem. Tip number 6. Other than having a water bottle and snacks, there are a couple other things you're going to want to have. A life pad. Somewhere to keep your life total, whether it's a normal notebook or a digital life pad like an Ultimate Guard or a boogie board. If you have a boogie board, you have to make sure that it doesn't have the function to save notes, because those are not allowed. It has to be able to erase everything you put on there between rounds. At big events, you can't use spin down die, because if someone bumps the table, then the numbers get confused, and then there's a big debacle. Even though you can have an electric life pad, you cannot have other electric devices on the table, like your cell phone. Your cell phone has to stay in your pocket. If you get caught using your cell phone, a judge can call you to the side and issue you a game loss if they choose to. Even though you're not allowed to have your cell phone out, your cell phone is important at these major events. They'll tell you who your opponent's going to be, your table number, your round number, and things of that nature. So make sure your cell phone is charged. Make sure you have a charger or a power bank. That way you know you never lose juice when you need it during the tournament. And my last tip for you guys. Remember that judges are there to make sure that things stay fair and to make sure that if you have any kind of problem, you can ask them. Don't be shy. If you don't understand interactions between cards, raise your hand and call a judge. Make sure you keep your hand raised, and when you see a judge, make sure that they see your hand. If you need to ask a judge a question privately, ask the judge to step off to the side. And there you have it. 7 tips to help get you the most enjoyment and excitement, the best experience you can have. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, please remember to like, share, and comment on this video. If I left out some tips and tricks that help you when you go to big events, leave them down below. I would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you guys for being a subscriber. If you haven't, smash that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.